Hey, welcome guys, Mackenzie here. This is week 7 of my 12 and 12 challenge. This week I built a jobs board application. So we are able to add multiple job postings, and the cool feature I played around with this week was categories. So I set up 4 different categories, full-time, part-time, freelance, and consulting. And we are able to filter the different jobs posts between the different categories. So let's dive in. I'll quickly show you what the app is going to look like, and we will start coding. Cool guys, let's take a look at what we are going to be building today. So here is my jobs board application. So the cool thing about this app is I implemented categories for each job post, and then we have the ability to filter between the different categories. So we can go to all categories, or if you want to see just part-time jobs, we can click on that. It's not the most pretty this week, just because honestly I ran out of time. But we're able to add a new job, pick a category, say another job, your company, I don't know, Facebook maybe. Then add a link to the job. So I'll say facebook.com. All right, and create job. Cool. So when users come in, they'll be able to, or when visitors come, they'll be able to see the job and then click the link and it will take them to the job posting. All right, so let's dive in and start coding this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab iTerm. I'm going to close out of the server I had running for that application, cd into my 12 and 12 directory. Let's clear this, and let's make it quite a bit bigger. There we go. All right, so I'm going to cd into my 12 and 12 directory. Then to start, I'm going to generate a new Rails application by doing Rails new. I'm going to call this jobs_board. All right, then once that's done installing, let's cd into the jobs board app. And then from here, I'm going to initialize it in Git. So I'm going to do git init. Then you can do git status to see all the untracked files. So for those, I'm going to do git add dot, add them to track them, and then git commit -am, and I'll do initial commit. All right. So in the other tab, I'm going to cd into my 12 and 12 directory into the jobs board application or directory. I'm going to run Rails S to run the Rails server. And then I'm going to go to localhost port 3000, which you can see right here. And it says, welcome aboard, we're writing Ruby on Rails. Awesome, so everything installed correctly. Let's go back here. So the first thing we want to do is add the ability to create a job. So to do that, first let's open this application up in Sublime Text. I'll do a Sublime dot to do that. All right, so we need to first create a model and then a controller as well as some routes. So let's start with the model. I'm going to do Rails generate model, Rails G model, and this model is going to be called job. And for this model, we're going to need several attributes. We're going to want a title, which is going to be a string, a description for the job post, which is going to be text, the company of the who's listing the job, which is also going to be a string, and then the URL for the job post, which will be a string as well. All right, so Rails G model job, title string, description text, company string, URL string. All right, then from here, let's migrate the database, do rake db:/migrate. All right, and let's we can take a look at what that did for us under migrate. So it creates a table jobs with the title, description, company, and URL, as well as it gives us the timestamp for the created and updated at. Perfect. All right, so from here, let's add a controller. So Rails generate controller. And it's going to be a jobs controller. So Rails G controller jobs that creates a view directory, doesn't create the actual views, as well as the jobs controller and some test application files, which we won't be using in this tutorial. But let's open up controllers, jobs controller. All right. So we know we are going to want to list all of the jobs. So let's start out by defining index, def index end. Now let's create some routes for our jobs. So we're going to do resources colon jobs, and then we also want to root the application, have the root of the application be the jobs controller with the index action, which we just defined right here. So now if we go to, or if we refresh, we should see, there we go. Template is missing. That is because we don't have a index template for our job. So let's create one now. But before we do that, I want to install a few gems. So I'm going to open up my gem file. Let me just clean this up a bit. All right, and then from here, I want to install the simple form gem for our forms. So I'm going to go to rubygems.org. Let's grab the simple form, or find the simple form gem. All right, so the latest is 3.0.2. Let's copy that. I also want the HAML gem. So let's grab the latest here, 4.0.5. And then, whoops, copy that. There we go. And also the Bootstrap gem, bootstrap-sass. All right, and the latest is 3.2.0.2. All right, let's paste that in. So I believe that is all we're going to use gem-wise on this application. So I'm going to close out of that. Let's go back to our server, or our terminal, and run bundle install. All right, then we need to restart our server. So I'm going to hit Control-C to end that, hit the up arrow to run Rails S again. All right, so now a few things for those gems. The Bootstrap one, there's a few things we need to do. We need to import Bootstrap sprockets and Bootstrap into our application CSS file. But first we need to rename that to a .scss extension so it can use Sass. All right, so let's paste that in, save that. Then also we need to require Bootstrap sprockets inside of our JavaScript application.js. So under the jQuery, I'm gonna paste that in. So require Bootstrap sprockets. All right, save that. Next, let's do the simple form gem. Misspelled that, but all right. So what we need to do, we already installed the gem. We ran bundle install. Next, we need to run the generator. So at the terminal, we'll do Rails generate, and it's simple form colon install. And we're going to throw in the Bootstrap flag. All right, so Rails generate simple underscore form colon install -- bootstrap. All right, so you can see right here, it says now you can use class, basically all the Bootstrap classes. Perfect. So again, let's restart our server after we did that. Okay, so we still need to create the template. So let's go ahead and do that. So under, let's close these, our app views jobs, we're going to create a new file, say this is going to be index.html, and we're going to use the .haml extension. So for this, I just want to, let's make an h1 and say this is the index page, just to make sure everything's working. So let's go back to localhost, refresh. Beautiful. All right, so we have our index page created. Let's go back to Sublime and go to the jobs controller. So what I want to do here is I'm going to define all of the actions that we're going to use for the jobs controller. So we have a def index. We also want a def show for our show page, a def new end, and a def create to create new jobs, and also a def edit and a def update to update our the job listings, and then also a def destroy to delete jobs. Then we also want a few private methods. We want one for jobs params, and then also a find job end. All right, so let's start filling these out. For the def new, we're going to want to do @job equals job.new. And then for the create, we're going to do the same, @job equals job.new, but we are going to throw in the jobs params. Then below that, we're going to do if @job.save. We want to redirect to that job that we just created. Else, let's render the new template end. All right, let's before we forget, let's define what the jobs params is. So it's going to be params.require :job. So this is grabbing the requiring the job model, and we're permitting the various attributes. We're going to permit the title, the description, the company, and the URL. And then for finding a job, we want to do @job equals job.find with params of ID. So the reason we are setting this is because we are going to use it on multiple actions. So we're going to use it on the show, the edit, update, and destroy, because all of those you need to find that specific job. So instead of duplicating each of it, we're going to define it in a private method and then add a before action up top. So before action, we're going to do find job only on the show, the edit, update, and the destroy methods. All right, so that's good for now. Let's add the ability to create a new job. So we have it defined in our controller. Next thing we need to do is add some views. So under app views jobs, let's create a new file, call this new.html.haml, and then also another one, and we'll save this as _form.html.haml. And this is going to be the form partial. All right, so for this, what we want to do, we want to have a new job. So we're going to use simple form for, then we're going to find the job by doing @job. We're going to do HTML : and we're going to throw in the class of form horizontal. And this is a Bootstrap, by the way. And then do F. Then under here, we're going to do f.input title. And we're going to throw the label of job title. And then another f.input for the description. Add another label. We'll say job description. Another f.input company. And we'll put your company. Whoops, we need to add a label. There we go. And then f.input URL. so we can grab the URL of the job listing. We're going to do another label, link to job. And then we'll add a break and we'll do another f.button, and this is going to be the submit button. All right, so let's save that, go to the new file. What we want to do here is an h1, new job, and then we're going to render that form. And then while we're here, we'll add a link to link_to, and we'll just say back. We'll go back to the root path. So let's go to /job/new. There we go. We have the form, we have the controller, and our model set up. So let's test it out and see if it works. New job title, let's say front end developer. Job description, I'm just gonna put some text in there. Your company, let's say some cool company like Twitter or something. And then link, we'll just put a hash to stub it out for now. All right, so that takes us to the job/1 to the show template, but the template is missing because we have not created that template just yet. So let's go ahead and do that. Under app views jobs, create a new file, save this as show.html.haml. All right, and just to make sure this will work, we'll do an h1, and then we're gonna print out the @job.title. Refresh. Beautiful. Let's also add p @job.description, and then another one @job.company for now. Cool. So that's all working. Let's go back. Let's add a link to the root path as well. Do link_to. I'll just say home, and then root_path. Cool. So now on the index, let's list out all of the jobs we have. So I'll get rid of this. I'm just going to do @jobs.eachDo job. And then for each job, we'll print out title and the description. So, or the company. So we'll do job.title, and let's actually wrap this in an h2. And then also let's add a p with the job.company. So let's save that, refresh. So we get an undefined method .each error. So what this is, or this is happening because in our controller, we have not defined what the @jobs is. So let's do that. @jobs equals job.all. And also we want to order by in descending order. So job.all.order, and then created _ descending, DESC. So let's go back, refresh. Very cool. So you can see that's showing up now. So let's quickly add a link to add a new job. So we're going to do a link to new job, and then we're going to go to the new job path. Save that, refresh, new job. Very cool. All right, so let's create another. I'll say another, add some filler text, company, McKinsey's company. And then we'll stub it out just like the other. Cool, and you can see it listed out in descending order. Very cool. So let's quickly add, well, we have the ability to create a new job. Let's add the ability to edit and destroy them as well. So in our jobs controller, let's go under edit, or I'm sorry, update. So it already finds the job for us from the before action on the edit, destroy, or edit, update, and destroy. So on the edit, all we need to do is throw an if @job.update, and we're going to throw the Jobs Params. We're going to redirect to the job. Else, we're going to render the edit template. And, all right. And then the destroy, we just want to do @job.destroy. Since we already find the job, with that before action. And then we'll redirect to, let's say the root path, because if you delete a job, you should go back home, I think. All right, so save that. Then in our show page, let's add a few more links. So we'll add a link to, let's say edit, and then we'll go to the edit job path, and then we'll find the job at job. So let's save that. Oh, you know what? I didn't link the h2, so go back to the index.html.haml. What we're going to do is link to, and then the job.title is what's going to be the link, and then we're going to go to the job path. No routes match. Oh, it might be a jobs path instead. Refresh. No. Let's take a look. Rake routes. So it should be job. It should be job path. I'm a little confused. Maybe just job. Refresh. There we go. So it's just at job, or not at job, just job to go to the job path. Cool. So let's try to edit it. We should get an error. All right. So we're getting a template is missing error. So let's go ahead and create that under app views jobs. We'll create a new file and we'll save this as edit.html.haml. This is pretty much going to be the same as the new.html.haml. So I'm just going to copy that, paste that, and change it to edit job. And it's going to use the same form, which is the reason we put it in the partial. So let's refresh it. There we go. Now we should be able to say change the title and maybe change the company to Fred's company. All right, update. All right, cool. So that saves it for us. Let's go back home. Now we want the ability to destroy it. So let's go back to our show.html.haml. Add one more link to, and then this is gonna link to delete. And we're gonna go to the job path. We're gonna find the job. Then it's gonna be a method of delete with the data. We're going to confirm, are you sure? And then we want to, well, that's good for now. Let's refresh, go to the job. Let's try to delete the first one. Are you sure? Yes. All right, and that takes us back to localhost with the job we just deleted removed. All right, so that's all working. Let's create a few more jobs just to have something to play with. Job title, Rails developer. Job description. All right, your company. Thoughtbot, how about that? Link to job. Let's go home. Create a new one. Let's see. Junior Rails dev. Add description, company, another company, and stub that out as well. Cool. So we have our jobs. We have the ability to create a new job, edit a job, and destroy a job. Next thing we want to do is add categories for our jobs. So to create categories, a few things we need to do. We need to set up a model to contain the categories, but we don't want to have views for our categories. And more specifically, we don't want just about anyone to create a new category. We would really only want full-time, part-time, freelance, and then we want to be able to filter between those. So what we're going to do is I'm going to add a model for the categories, and then in the Rails console, we're just going to create the categories. and not worry about any views or any of that stuff. Let's take care of that. Let's do a git status to see what we've done. We've done quite a bit. So let's do git add dot git commit with the message add jobs credibility. Sounds pretty good. All right, so git status. All right, we're on a clean directory. Cool. So next, let's create a model, Rails G model, and this is going to be a category model. And all we want is a name, which is going to be a string. So let's hit enter, and then in Sublime we can open up DB migrate, and then see it created a table of categories with the t.string, which is a name. Cool. Actually, I'm just going to close out all of these for now. All right, back in our console, let's do a rake db:/migrate to add that to our database. So next, what we want to do is add the ability or add a category ID column to our jobs table. So for that, we're going to run a migration. We're going to do Rails G migration, and then it's going to be called add underscore category underscore ID underscore to underscore jobs. And then the category ID is going to be an integer. So let's hit that, and let's check it out in our DB migrate folder. So we're adding a column to the jobs table, and it's category underscore ID, which is an integer. All right. So next thing, let's do a quick rake db:/migrate. So we need to next add an association between our category and our jobs model. So a category has many :jobs, and then a job has many. No, a job belongs to a category. So let's go into our Rails console and do a few things. So Rails C, let's just find the category. Category.connection to establish the connection. There we go. All right, so category. So let's create a few categories. So we're going to do category.create, and we'll have a name of, let's say, full-time. Cool, so category ID is 1, name is full-time. All right, so next let's do category.create. Let's say name is part-time. Category.create, name, let's do freelance. Category.create, name consulting. All right, so now if we do category.all, you can see all the categories we created. So we have 4 at the moment. All right, so next let's take a look at the jobs. So I'm just gonna call job, and you can see the category ID is an integer. So we have that, we have the category ID on the jobs table. All right, so let's go back to our application. So next, what we want to do is for each new job that is created, we want to add the category ID to that specific job. So when we filter, we'll be able to see, like for example, full-time jobs. We'll be able to see only the full-time jobs based on the category ID. All right, so let's go under our views, jobs, and then grab the form partial. What we want to do is above everything, I'm just going to put it up top. We're going to do f.collection underscore select. So this is going to be a select, and it's going to loop through all of the different categories we have. So we're going to do category underscore ID. Then we're going to loop through all the categories by doing category.all. Then we're going to find the ID, find the name, and then we're going to prompt colon choose a category. All right, so let's save that, go to our new form, new job. All right, so now you can see new job, and we have the ability to select between full-time, part-time, freelance, and consulting, the job choices we chose or we created in the console. So next thing we need to do for this to work is go back to our controller, and let's go to the jobs controller. And under the job params, we need to add the category ID. All right, so now this way it will get saved to the database. So let's create a new job, and then we'll pop into the console and make sure it works. So let's say this is a consulting job, Rails dev, a quick description, Kinsey's company, and we'll stub it out like the others. Great job. All right, so let's go into our console. Well, we're already here. Let's reload it by doing reload pound, I believe. Yeah. All right, so let's find the last job by doing @job equals job.last. There you go. At the very end, you can see the category ID is equal to 4. And if you remember right, the let's go home, new. So that was the 4th one created. So that has the so it has an ID of 4. Very cool. I'm not exactly sure if updating it will assign the category ID. So let's find the 3rd one, see if that worked. @job equals job.find3. Cool. So let's go through them and go back and make sure each one of them have a category assigned to it. Update, let's go home. And then another edit. Let's make this one freelance. @job equals job.find4. Cool. So that's all working. So to filter those, we need to first list out all the categories, and then we need to change the def index method inside of our jobs controller to add a parameter to filter by. So let's go to, let's close out of these and clean this up a bit. All right, so let's go to the layout application.html.erb. First thing let's rename this .haml so we can use the HAML extension. Then let's grab the Ruby HAML syntax highlighting. So I'm just going to change this real quick. HTML, tab, head, tab, and then title. And then I'm going to just copy and paste these below. Then let's quickly remove the extra tags. And I think it's probably going to throw an error because it's tabbed differently. So I'm just going to backspace and then hit enter. All right, so the title is going to be, let's say Ruby on Rails jobs. Let's come down below. We'll do the body. Then below that, we want to do the yield. Equals yield. All right. So I believe that's it. So above the yield, what we want to do is loop through all the categories. So what I'm going to do is category.all.each do category. And then for each category, we're going to link _to category.name. And then this is going to link to the jobs path with the category and then a category.name. So let's save that, refresh. All right, so you can see we have a full-time, part-time, freelance, and consulting. So what we need to do next is inside of our controller, let's go to the app controllers, jobs controller. Let's change this def index. So how we're going to do this is if params, if the category params is blank, dot blank, we're going to loop through all the jobs. Else, what we want to do is at category underscore ID, we're going to find category dot find by. We're going to find by the name with the params of category. And then we're going to do dot ID. Then below here, we'll do at jobs equals job dot where the category underscore ID is at category underscore ID. Then we're going to order these, order created underscore at descending. Then we'll end this. So what this is doing, if the category params is blank, we're going to just list out all the jobs. Otherwise, we're going to find the category ID, and then we're going to loop through only the jobs that has that category ID. So let's test this out and see if it works. So let's click on full-time. There we go. So you can see in the localhost / jobs, it throws up question mark category equals full plus time. So only the jobs that have the category ID of full time show up right here. We can test this out by creating another one with full time. Say another job, another company, pound that out, create job. Now let's go to full-time. There you can see both jobs are now created. Very cool. So we have jobs. We have the ability to let the user filter between the different types of jobs. What we need to do next is make it look not so completely shitty. So let's go back to our terminal, get out of the console by doing Control D. Let's do a quick git status. All right, so I'm gonna commit what we did. We'll git add underscore or git add dot. So I'm gonna do git commit with the message, add categories to jobs. All right, git status. Cool, we're good to go. So now let's start on the styling. So Bootstrap is already installed. We're going to use that for most of the application. So let's start by going to Sublime, and we're going to go to the application.html.erb. So what we want to do in here, we want to add a nav with the nav bar and nav bar default classes. And under here, we're going to do a dot container. Then we're going to do a dot navbar brand. And this is going to be called Rails Jobs. Then we also want a UL with the class of nav and navbar nav. Then before we loop through all the different categories, we want to add one LI with a link to all the jobs. And then we're just going to go to the root underscore path. Whoops, this needs to print out. There we go. Now we're linking to all jobs, and it's just going to go to the root of the application. All right, then under here, we want to do the category.all. So let's indent this under the UL. And then we'll put this inside of li. All right, so let's save that. Then come down here and let's put the another container around the yield. Tab that in. So let's save that, see what it did. Let's go back. So something's messing up. Probably the indentation, because everything is inside of the nav bar at the moment. So let's tab this over 1. Save, refresh. There we go. So now the header is good. And then all the jobs are listing out. Next, let's also in the nav bar add the ability or add a link to all the, or add a new job. So we'll do link underscore to new job. And then we'll go to the new job path and we'll add the class of navbar text, navbar right to float to the right, and then navbar link. Save that, refresh. There we go. You can see new job is right here. Goes to the correct link. Awesome. So next thing we want to do, let's go into our app assets style sheet application.css. All right, I'm just going to copy some styles in here. So what this is doing, very, very basic styling. I'm adding a gradient to the background, changing the font family to Lato, adding a clear fix in case we needed it. Then this is just overriding the Bootstrap stuff, the navbar and the navbar brand. And then this is specifically for the jobs. So let's save that, refresh. Very cool. So next thing, let's take care of the index page. So let's go to views/jobs/index.html.haml. And for each job, we want to wrap the entire thing in a jobs div. Then we want to tab that in. And then for each job, we want to put it inside of a .job class. So let's indent these. Now if we refresh, you can see it's taking these styles that I had written in the application.scss file. Cool. Let's also get rid of the new job link down below. So in the index, let's just remove this all together. There we go. Now, if we look at that, beautiful. All right, so let's look at the show page. Let's go to app views, jobs, show.html.erb. And I'm just going to use the same styles as before. So we'll wrap it in a jobs div and then at job. Then we'll just tab this over. Let's change the H1 to an H2. All right, and then beneath here, let's also add a button with the class of btn and btn-default. And this is going to link to apply for job. And this is going to go to the job path. Or no, it's going to go to what they enter inside of the URL when they create a new job. So we'll do @job.url. And then the links, let's wrap these in a links div and then indent these. Save that, refresh. Cool. And then you can see these look pretty bad. So let's remove the home button. Actually, no, let's keep it, but let's change it to back. It doesn't really make sense as home. So we're just going to add a class of btn, btn-small, and then btn-default. All right, so I'm just going to copy these, paste it, and paste it. Refresh. All right, so now the buttons are styled. Let's go back. Next thing is the new job form. So let's go to the form. So for each of these is a little bit different because of the simple form. So we need to, instead of just adding a regular class, we're going to do input_html:, and then we're going to do a class of form-control. So let's copy these and paste it for each one of our inputs. And then the collection actually should not be form control. So let's change that to drop down /toggle. Save that, go back to our app, refresh. Cool, so that looks pretty good. Next, let's make it so all these are a bit indented and centered. So we'll go to the application.html.haml, and inside the container above the yield, what we're going to do is we're going to add a column md-6. So it's going to be half of the width of the viewport. And then we're going to offset that with column md-offset 3. And then we'll indent the yield under that. So now if we refresh, you can see it's centered within the viewport, and the same thing for the show page. Sweet guys, with that, we are all finished building our jobs board application. If you want to take the app beyond what we did here, maybe play around with adding users and admins, or if you want, maybe even try adding Stripe payments so you could actually charge for letting someone post a job listing on your site. So as always, if you have any questions or comments, just reach out to me on Twitter. It's @McKinseyChild. Or if you want to follow along for more, subscribe below or find my website. It's mckinseychild.me. All right, see you guys next week.